tornado that had gone through out west, and so the campus has a history in the big tornado from 1953. So
Yes.
so obviously, to be sensitive to that location, being up on a hill, that's probably very wise. Although it's a lot of work, probably a very wise choice.
No, it's a lot of work, and I know some disappointed people, but just it's the best we could do,
Sure.
and want to be safe. That's
Well,
the bottom line.
yeah, that's the bottom line, is to
line.
keep that day. So, on a more positive note, perhaps we're time to play a little thing that we do from time to time with our guests. It's a little game we call "You Do What." Did I say that right, Sean? You do what?
It's a little higher at the end.
You do what?
There.
There we go. So
All right.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna read you 3 job titles with a brief description, and you've got 2 of them are fictitious. There's one real one, so you have to tell me which one is real. And we've got a theme. We'll see if you can guess what theme these 3 kind of coalesce around.
Okay.
So the first one is cheese pounder. This person operates a punch press machine used to settle and shape certain types of cheeses. Sean tells me Gouda cheeses is one of the cheeses used.
It's a pounded cheese. I don't see that on the label, Sean, but
The next is, so we've got cheese pounder. The next is egg breaker / sniffer. And this person manually separates the egg yolk from the white and smells them to ensure freshness. Okay, to determine freshness. So egg breaker / and the last one is chicken beak collector. Now this person manually gathers the remnant beaks following meat processing. So we've got 3. Can you see the theme there, though? We just don't throw out crazy titles. A lot of thought goes into this to make it,
Okay, we're pounding cheese, we're sniffing eggs, and we're collecting
eggs, and
beaks.
chickens, right?
There's a culinary connection here.
There you go. And you
Jeff,
have a great culinary program, I think.
Oh,
that-
yes,
that- that-
absolutely we do. Thank you.
So there you go. So there's perhaps some of these jobs available on campus in your campus. So here's your choices again: cheese pounder, egg breaker / sniffer, and chicken beak collector. Which one? And there is a prize. Which one is the real job?
Okay, I'm going with beak collector.
That is a very good guess. Sean, do you wanna weigh in on? No, you know what? You don't have a microphone handy, so I'll just go ahead and do it. It is actually the egg breaker sniffer.
What do you do with a broken egg?
Well, that apparently there's some folks out there that only want the yolks or the whites,
yes,
and so
okay,
this person
all
is
right.
the person that separates. And while they
Okay.
do that, they need to smell them.
Yes. The chickens, actually, the beaks are cut off when they're in the cages before they even go to processing.
Now, I'm curious to know how you
I'm
would know that.
rationalizing this away, Jeff. is
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
doing.
But do
why
you
did
know
I do
that for a fact?
I do know that because I've raised chickens, and we do that to prevent them from pecking each other and hurting each other.
Oh, that's a very
we
good.
clip the beaks, yeah.
So,
I guess they're clipped again, though.
you know,
when
yeah,
they're
no,
processed, huh?
well, that was fictitious. So,
Oh.
I'm surprised you didn't catch me on that one. There you go. You never know what
well, no.
someone's background is gonna entail and what they're gonna know. So again, Stephen Budd,
Thank you.
Vice President of Enrollment at Quinsigamond
Yes,
Community
tell
College.
the folks, come to Quinsigamond Community College. There's room.
There you go.
Registering students now.
Thanks again for being on. So
Thank
there
you,
you go. So and they can contact. Obviously, there's a great website they can go to.
Website, admissions office.
That's probably the
Good place
easiest
to
way
start.
to start for more
Yeah,
information.
and I can't forget financial aid either.
There you go.
That's important.
So thanks again for
Thank
being
you.
on. Stephen Budd had mentioned Quinsigamond's graduation's coming up and has been moved. But a lot of colleges graduating this time of year.
A lot
A lot of graduates flooding the job market. Some faster than others. Now you seem to me the type that after you graduate, you went to college and graduated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you seem the type maybe you tramped around. I'm not going to say Europe. I'm going to say like you did like the
backpacking
you
in
did
Europe
like the Appalachian
excursion,
Trail.
or-
I'm going to say no. You're more like an Appalachian Trail mountain club kind of.
Taking some time off to just
Adirondack
be with
shelter.
nature kinda thing?
Exactly. I'm going to guess you were with a good buddy of yours, and at some point though he had to bail. Maybe he hurt his leg, or he was getting married, or something. And then you were on your own for like 200 miles. That's
Just me in the open road. No. Actually, after college, I ended up taking an internship, kind of expanding my internship, and was able to connect with a small marketing firm to start working there.
Great.
And that's kind of how I was able to build up some experience, because I know one of the things as a college graduate you enter in is this conundrum where you're looking for jobs, and a lot of the jobs that are available, even entry-level ones, they want some sort of experience.
Right.
So without some sort of internship or anything, it's hard to get that experience.
And that's one reason that we at the Workforce Investment Board have started the Job One Coalition, Work Readiness, Youth Work Readiness Coalition, to help spur on and foster greater work readiness opportunities, whether it's summer jobs, internships, co-ops. And that's one of the reasons I think technical high schools these days are doing so well.
Oh, exactly.
The young people get a chance to get out there, have a co-op experience, get some real world, get to see how their education relates to the real world, and then bring that back. So it's one reason I think that they're doing so well in terms of graduation rates and student retention. Mm-hmm. And so they're also doing quite well with MCAS. Having their students pass MCAS and go on to even higher ed. So it's not necessarily the old traditional for vocational students, that they necessarily just go from there into the workplace. A lot of them do still, but a fair number, go on to secondary education, post-secondary education, whether it's even further short-term education, like Stephen Budd had talked about, around certificates or whatever. Yeah. So
what about a young Jeff Turgeon? What did a young Jeff Turgeon do after college?
Well,
the market was a little bit different then.
You've got to read the
way
backstory.
Back then.
You've got to come up with. I came up with my estimated summer after graduation experience for you. You've got to.
Maybe you and a friend explored the .com bubble and had Jeff.com, where you would just have these funny videos of you and your friend.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we had like the internet back when I graduated college. I think we did. It was very text kind of. There wasn't much video work being done.
Okay. MS-DOS kind of.
Yeah, but I was. It was called Sock. You were very close. It was called sockpuppet.com, and my friend and I, we would do sock puppet theater.
Yep.
On the internet. Didn't last for some reason.
Didn't take off.
It didn't take off like we thought.
It wasn't a huge market for. It was probably too soon. I mean, if you did something like that nowadays, I'm sure it would take.
Legendary, yeah, it'd be huge. But alas, it didn't work. No, I actually, in reality, went down Cape Cod and worked.
Cool.
For 2 summers, cool. I was lucky enough to find employment down the Cape, and I worked at a hotel. I was their night watchman / security guy. I would say that I was kind of like the night guy.
Just did you get a taser or a gun or pepper spray or something?
There was no taser. I had a broom. So I would test the pool water, make sure that was okay, and I would be available if there was any kind of
somebody loses their key or can't get in their room or something.
That kind of stuff. I was just kind of like I was a little bit of everything. Handyman. I was just kind of there, and so that was like Monday through Thursday or Sunday through Thursday. I had to kind of be on premises, but I got a free room there, free hotel room.
That sounds like a good gig for
not a bad gig. Grad. And then for the weekend, I could kind of go out a bit. So it was a great experience. Really got to meet some great people down there and had a lot of fun. So it was a good learning experience during and after college. So
cool.
And Dr. Zukowski, what about you, sir? Do you want us to guess?
Do you really want to know? Played tennis during the summer, the entire summer.
Professionally, you and...
No, far from professionally. And then in August, began to prepare the classroom to go teach elementary school.
Oh.
So I'm picturing you back then.
Long hair.
White shirt with white shorts on the tennis court.
Short.
With white sneakers and white socks.
Far from that.
Really?
Yeah.
You were a rebel then on the tennis court.
Oh, yes, definitely.
People were like, here comes
Couldn't
Zukowski.
afford
Look at him with his tie-dye shirt and his homemade sneakers.
His ponytail.
Yeah, the ponytail and all that, yes.
But wasn't traditionally tennis a very traditional game back then?
Yes, it was. But if you're not in the tournaments, you don't have to worry about how you dress.
So it's street tennis?
Street tennis, yeah. Right up. right on Vernon Street.
I'm
in
picturing like
between the
street tennis,
cars.
like it's some sort of performance artist. Like it's called street tennis, and it's very extreme.
It's one of the
Who's got
what then called the extreme sports.
And did you do the tournaments as well?
No.
Were you a really good tennis player?
No.
Who was the big tennis player back there? Like Gene Lavender or something. What was his name?
Have no idea.
Tall, kind of thin.
Around in New England, they were the Johnson brothers. They were really good. Really good.
That sounds
players,
like a
you
tennis gang or something.
know? Yeah, they were. All right, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. But the things you learn about people. I never knew you were really into tennis when you were younger. So
Going on that summer job theme.
exactly.
We'll go to the.
Well, I
the
did
mail-
want to follow up too with graduates.
okay.
One of the things that graduates inevitably want to get their first interview or get job interviews, and so there are some stories out there, and in talking to employers, kind of reinforces this. A lot of young college graduates go into these interviews unprepared.
Oh, okay. So they think I've got my college degree now. Next step is a job, but they kind of miss that. You got to prepare for the interview. Talk about your strengths,
Correct,
your weaknesses.
and even just little things that they're doing that they don't recognize aren't appropriate for, the interview. So, for instance, you hear stories. Human resources people or managers will report, college graduates coming in well underdressed for the interview. Certainly, there's in a lot of business environments, a lot of job environments, a very casual atmosphere these days. But there's still some expectation of showing up for the interview, not wearing flip-flops, for instance, or yoga pants. A lot of people
Dress yoga pants?
yeah. Well, what would that entail? Dress yoga pants? They're like a little piping on the side, maybe, or
Pleats in the front.
pleats in the front. Yeah. So, yes, sir, Dr. Zukowski.
What the graduates don't realize is there's an important service on every single campus, and that's career services that can help them with the resume, can help them with interviews, and they seem to ignore that whole thing. Maybe it's the Ike tradition. I know everything,
Yeah.
And they don't utilize those services on campus.
And speaking of that, I was lucky enough to be I'm a Worcester State University graduate,
I am too.
and so was lucky enough to be invited back by Mark Wagner and Jillian Anderson in their career services and community engagement departments to look at, and they also invited business leaders, to talk about what are some things that they can and could be doing to better prepare their young people. And so, these things like underdress. The other one is a big no-no is using your cell phone, your smartphone during the interview. So actually texting others while you're in an interview, that to me
Not
seems like that would be a pretty obvious no-no, but apparently, I can just see like, so Sean, tell us what your strengths are and what you would bring to the position, and you'd be like, oh my God.
It's OMG, Jeff.
OMG. Right? So, boy, it just seems like that one would be kind of a no-brainer, but,
Definitely.
as the culture, the youth culture is kind of developed, these habits, have developed. And so, understanding that you need to break those habits for the half hour or so you're going to be in the interview is something that's important.
And I mean, there's a chance, too, that a student might have just been studying all year and not have time for a job. So this could be their interview for their first job. So a lot of times we get that kind of stuff out of the way with our first job.
And again, we're encouraging schools, both high school and higher ed, and other like alternative training programs through our Job One coalition to really foster more hands-on learning and getting young people in the workplace so they can see how things work, get to network, and get to understand the do's and don'ts around some of these things. There's always this dynamic, right, between you've got a youth culture and Generation X and now the next generation coming in, and their preferences, what they want, and how they want to experience work, and then what the previous generations have set up for the work environment.
Right now we have 4 generations in the workplace working together.
Wow, I didn't. I guess I didn't realize that. So everything from the retired senior citizen who's coming back into the workplace to
Yep.
make a few dollars, make some ends meet. What
Right,
have
kind of
you.
at that retirement
busy.
age, but is kind of waiting before.
Yeah,
they
I
retire.
mean, maybe they've had a previous career, but they're coming back into the workplace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're working side by side with 3 other generations.
Yeah.
Wow. So, but in this dynamic, right? So you've got this tension between how much should a company change their culture and their values to accommodate the next generation coming through. And of course, the older school folks and older folks, like me, are they need to change, right? They need to understand the workplace, right?
Right.
And then you've got the younger folks that no, I'm being me. You need to, I want to come in at 10 o'clock, right? So
Yeah.
there's that dynamic there, and some organizations, are making real changes to their culture, and I think others are looking to see whether that's good or not.
good model or
Should
not,
you
yeah.
have such a casual workplace that, hey, groovy man, I show up, do the work, and I don't know why I'm using the hippie voice, but apparently
works, yeah.
in my mind, that the youth generation all talks like a bunch of hippies. Apparently, let's hear how you would personify
That's
that.
it. That's the
yeah.
one. Yeah.
No, but I mean, high tech companies,
No, I
right?
know, yep.
Who tend to target younger workers with very comfortable in technology and very kind of edgy in that way, right?
Yeah, I've got friends who work at graphic design firms where it's not unusual for them to have ping pong tables, and they don't have
Ping pong tables in the workplace.
Exactly.
What the
Yeah.
heck you doing there?
And they have TV. I mean, it's
But
just.
then again, I mean, on the other side, if you're playing ping pong all day, that's not particularly, unless you're a ping pong company. Maybe you're a ping pong tester. Maybe you're a cheese pounder, and I don't know. I mean, there needs to be a balance there, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
certainly, but traditionally, people do coming into the job market until they're in a position to change that culture themselves. When they move up the ranks and become the manager, become the boss, they really, if they want to be employed in that area, they need to at the very least, understand that they need to look around and figure out if they're going to conform or not. Now, their choice is not to conform and to start their own company, to do whatever, to go into another line of work, but at least understanding, I think there's unfortunately a fairly sizable amount of students, not necessarily the majority by any means, but a sizable portion that don't understand that they don't even understand. That they don't necessarily look around at all and see that they're out of place at a job interview wearing flip-flops. And they just walk away saying,
It was
that
them.
person didn't like
Yeah,
me,
right.
they're obviously that company's without understanding why there was a mismatch. Hey, it's fair enough if they walk away going, man, they don't like flip-flops.
Right.
That's not the job for me.
Right. They walk in, they see they're dressed up, they have nice dress shoes on, and they say, okay, I missed the boat on that,
Yeah, as long as they understand it, then at least they get it and they can decide where to go from there. It's the young people that haven't been necessarily kind of informed on what to look for and how to look for it and why it's important to understand it, and then you can relate it to your values.
Yep.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
So I think we're ready to move on to our mailbag segment. Bob, do you have the jingle? Do you have the jingle? Can you sing the jingle? The mail.
No, you don't want me to sing the jingle. Just want to remind the people it's 12:39 and it's studio time, and they're listening to